we are here in Artist Alley with Stephen, one of the artists here. So Stephen, can you talk a little bit about your art here and some of the work you've done? And
so mostly my art is in the realm of sort of film noir and horror. I chose the absolute worst style of art to use because it's so meticulous and it takes forever, and it's a bunch of tiny little lines. Maybe the camera won't pick it up. You can zoom in a million times and you'll see them. But so most of my stuff is film noir, stuff like that. I just finished working on my first sort of collaborative comic, which is this one over here called Dead of Winter. And yeah, so that's the gist of what I'm working with.
And you know, when you see these, they look very photorealistic, but this is all by hand. This is all with your little pens here, right?
Yeah, not something akin to something like this, and varying degrees of scale, and essentially just growing a hunchback in front of my desk, slowly doing line after line after line until I finally get what I'm looking for. I've got sort of a few different ways of my style. I think there's, you know, stuff like this Frankenstein here, which is really photorealistic, and then sort of the women I do, like this one here of Jean Tierney, which is a little bit more, I don't know, bold contrast sort of things. They're all bold contrast, but this one's a little bit different.
How much time do you think you spend on the average piece here? How long is that in front of your desk hunched over?
I would say for something like this, it could be as little as like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Something like this Frankenstein's Laboratory over here would be 20-25 hours, and that's just a guess. It's really hard to, you know, put a number down on it, you know.
And speaking of the style, what about this style appeal to you, and what keeps you in practice with it?
Basically, it's just a hit or miss sort of thing. I don't have any training at all. I've only been doing this for a few years, so this is just sort of what I started doing, and this is where it ended up, really. I don't really know too many styles, and I don't know how to paint and color yet, so once I get around to that, probably you'll see some color stuff coming out.
Well, it's great. It's amazing stuff. And before we go, can you do you have any a website you can plug or social media you're on?
Yeah, it's at Stephen STEPHEN_Burger BURGER at that's the Twitter, and www.artwanted.com/sburger.
Great, thanks so much for talking to us. We're here with Agnes Garboska, who is an artist and illustrator here at Toronto ComiCon. So Agnes, how many Artist Alleys does this make for you, or is this your first time?
It makes a lot. I've been doing Artist Alley for 6 years now. Usually doing the Fan Expo shows. I did the Paradise shows when it was the Paradise, and I have done Wizard World last year, and I'm going to be doing it again this year, and Fan Expo again this year as well.
Great. So the style of art you have here, I know there's a particular name for it when you kind of you know, make the characters like Harley Quinn and X-23, you make them a little cuter. What kind of style is that?
I call it my cute style. There's like, okay, I'm gonna get, if anyone doing anime will kick my butt, I think it's chibi or chibi.
Yeah.
I don't know which pronunciation because I always screw it up, and I always think I got the right one. I just call them my minis because they're not Japanese enough for those who like the anime and not American enough for those. So it's right in the middle. So it's this happy medium where I track both the markets, and I just love doing it. And that's the main reason I draw the way I do. It makes me happy, and it seems to make other people happy, which is even better.
And how do you choose like the various characters? Like you have some odd ones, like there's Superboy and there's some Super Pets there and Iron Man. How do you choose what characters to chibify?
A lot of my prints are actually based on commissions I'm asked to do, and some of them are just characters I like. I try to pick like popular characters, like Crypto will always sell because he's so darn cute, and both girls and boys seem to love Crypto. When you put Streaky, a lot of girls like Streaky, so you gotta have the Super Pets going on, and I like the mainstream ones like Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. They're totally fun to draw, but I got my obscure characters, and they're cool, they work, and they still sell, and they're fun.
And you also have a book here, You, Me, and Zombie?
Yep, that is my book, You, Me, and Zombie. It's a hardcover. It's a prelude to the webcomic, which I have running right now. The webcomic actually starts off the adventure of Olive and Otis, and as you keep reading the webcomic, soon it'll reach the point of the prelude, which is she's caught right in the middle of the action. When you pick up the prelude, there's a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes art. There's like guest artists in the background. Marcus Toe, Francis Manipul are both in the book as my little guest artists, so it's totally cool and worth picking up.
And speaking of your art, like how long you've been doing this, like as an artist, you know, at what point did you decide this is what you want to do with your life?
I would say when it comes to comic books, I was a little late deciding on the comic books because I thought maybe I wanted to go into film, and then I actually did 3D animation, so I went to school for that, but I hated animating, so I'm like, okay, I like the drawing part, I don't really like the animating part, so I started attending comic shows as a fan in late high school, and I'm like, hey, this is really, really cool, and they seem to be really enjoying it. I like comic books, so I'm like, okay, let's think about this. I like comic books, I like drawing, and I love telling a story. That's why I went into animation. I wanted to tell a story of some way. So I took a few years off school to try to figure out what do I want to do, and I started looking into comics even more, and I'm like, you know what, this is a lot of fun, and I think I could totally do this. So then I went back to school for illustration, but while I was in school, I was practicing my storytelling even more, and I actually happened to work for Marvel while I was in school on their girl comics and their Spider-Ham. So by the time I graduated, it was really cool because I already had a portfolio, already had my name going out there. I've been doing shows for 6 years, and the media is just really, really fun. I could tell a story on one page, and then on the next page it'll be like this totally cool scene, and it's so much fun. That's really all.
And if people want to find your art online or learn more about Yumi and Zombie, where can they go?
They can go to my website, agnesgarboska.com. All my webcomics are there, some cool art's there, and you'll always find some fun stuff.